Hello friends and welcome to the Southern Mountain Kitchen. Today we're going to make fried corn on the cob. So what we have here is everything we're going to need to make this. Now, depending on what you want, you can have 2, 3, 4 pieces of corn on the cob, which there's enough mix here to do this. This is just something I'd never done before I started getting the idea. Like, I got some corn recently. I did the oven roasted. I did a video for that. And then one of my family members was like, you need to do it fried. And I was like, how do you fry corn on the cob? And they actually told me how. And I was like, okay, well, this isn't so bad at all because it turned out really neat. So take your corn. I got the kind that already had the husk and everything still on it because I wanted to clean it myself. And just go through and take off the actual outer edges of it, take off the silk. Make sure, husking corn is not really that hard. You just basically take the leaves, separate them, peel them down, get all of the silk out of the inside, pop off the bottom because the bottom part will be stuck onto it, and you basically have it right there. And it's actually not so bad because sometimes you get a better price on the fact that if you're going to do the husking yourself rather than they've already cleaned it up and just put it into a container with cellophane and plastic around it, whatever, and just said, here's your corn already cleaned. Well, you know what? I prefer to do it myself. So we'll just go through each one of these and pull off everything from the outside and then snap the bottom, and there you go. And just make sure you run your hands all over the outside of it to get the silk off. Really, it's not hard to get it off. You just have to work it a little bit and it'll come right off of there. It's no big deal. There's no big process to it. So we're just going to go through and do this to every single one of these and put all of our mess to the side, which we'll clean up in a minute because there's quite a bit of debris comes off of this, but it's okay. So here we go. We have the four pieces of corn on the cob. We have a large plastic bag, and we have a cup of buttermilk. Now, with that buttermilk, we're going to put it in here to let these soak because it's going to give them flavor, but it's also going to help you stick on your outer edge when we go to put the dry ingredients on. So if you say you have no buttermilk, okay, that's perfectly fine. Just take a cup of regular milk and then put about a tablespoon of vinegar into it. Let it sit for 5 minutes. You got buttermilk. So we're going to go ahead and take this, get it inside there, and roll the corn in the buttermilk because you really want to get this coated. We want to make sure it goes all over the place on this. Now what you're going to do is roll this back and forth, get it really coated, make sure it's all over, flip it a few times, make sure the buttermilk goes everywhere. And then we're going to let it sit for about 10 minutes. Then we're going to flip it over, roll it again, and let it sit for another 10 minutes. And that way it gets time for the flavor to get into the corn. But that buttermilk, it's just doing all kinds of great things in here to help us flavor-wise and for when we actually bread this. So what we're going to start with here in our platter, we have 1/2 cup of cornmeal. To this, we're going to add 1/4 cup of flour, and then we're going to add seasoning. So we have a 1/2 teaspoon of Creole seasoning, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, and 1/4 teaspoon of paprika. And we're going to put this all on this together, and we're going to mix it together to where that way the seasoning goes all the way through and the cornmeal and the flour mixed together. So when we go to roll these, they're all mixed. So that way it's easy enough to get that flavor everywhere, and you don't have to worry about, wow, did I get enough seasoning here or there or whatever. You are, because we're going to mix it together. And I'm using my hand. You can use a fork. You can use whatever you want to use, a spatula. Any way you do it, it's perfectly fine because it's still doing the same process. So we're just going to mix this through and make sure that we get it totally coated. Now, when we get ready to fry these, you are going to need cooking oil. You're going to need a very large skillet. Get some oil in it, at least a 1/2 inch or more, and heat it up to 360 degrees to get ready for this. So we're going to pull out our ears of corn one at a time, shake off all the excess buttermilk. The great thing about the buttermilk is it's really clinging to this. It's wonderful. It doesn't just drip off really fast. Then come over and just roll it in this dry mix that we made. And if you have to, pick up some of the dry mix with your fingers, work it into the areas that didn't get it when it rolled, because corn isn't perfectly shaped. It's a little narrower at some parts. So go ahead and roll it over. And once you get it completely coated, do the same thing with your next one. Just make sure you shake off the buttermilk a little bit when you're bringing it out so you don't have it dripping all over the place. And then just go ahead and roll again. And this is the best thing about this here. This is so easy. I mean, really, you're just basically coating it. And just roll it back and forth until you get a really good coating on it. And as I said, use your fingers, get that on there. Wherever you had seen some yellow sticking through, put a little bit of the flour and the cornmeal and stuff, and just go ahead and coat it and move on to the next piece. Now, once we get all of these done, they are not going in the skillet at the same time because these things need room, because you're going to have to roll them back and forth if you have the large ones like this. And we're just going to roll it to let it cook. And basically it's going to cook for anywhere from like 2 to 4 minutes per side as you rolled it. But if you were using a deep fryer, you could literally put yours in a deep fryer for about 5 minutes and totally the process is done. But I'm using a skillet. So I'm on my last piece here, rolling it around, getting it coated. And like I said, there's plenty of this to do 4 really large pieces of corn. It's not really that big a deal. All these ears are totally coated. And once we get this all on, we need to start thinking about that skillet and the oil and getting it warming up. Because like I said, you need at least a half an inch of oil in your skillet. It's going to have to be at least 360 degrees to actually fry these. And you just want to get it ready before you come in it with the corn, because you don't want to put the corn in there and it not be hot enough, because everything you put on the outside of this is going to start to break up and fall apart because it's not hot. You actually need that temperature. But once these are in there, that's the easy part. We've already done all the hard. You just basically bring them into the hot oil, set them down one at a time, and then we're going to let it sit for like 2-3 minutes, maybe up to 4, and then roll it because it's going to start cooking on the outside. We're going for a golden brown look. So basically, you know, you could look at it this way. This could take up to 8 minutes to do a whole ear of corn. No big deal. And the fact that I have 4 of these is going to take a little bit. But we just put them in there, make sure that they get good oil coating around them, and then we just roll them. That's it. And make sure that you're not actually doing it in a way that you're going to knock your breading off before it has a chance to cook. And that's really the hard part of it. It's all done. And here's mine, and as you can see, I'm rolling it over, and the bottom has started to cook. And that's the cool thing, because see that goldenness is starting there. Now, it's not done yet. It still needs a few more minutes. But we're going to keep going with this, and then once these are done, we're going to bring them out and then bring in the other 2 that I had and let them cook. And basically, once you've got them for the full time in here and everything is cooked and ready to roll, you can literally just bring these over, sit them either on a wire rack or a plate with like maybe some paper towel, and let it soak up the oil, because we don't want that oil really sticking to these much, because we don't want it making the outside fall off. But these have such a great taste. And the only thing you really should do with these after they're done and they're sitting out waiting for you to eat is maybe take some like kind of Cajun seasoning and sprinkle a little on the outside to give it a kick. Or if you wanted more salt and pepper or something like that on the outside, you can do that. But that's it. It's that easy. There's really not that much to this. It's a lot easier probably to do this in a deep fryer than in a skillet. However, this was the option I had, and this is what mine looked like when it was done. And I got to tell you, this was a really great taste, and I think you just might like this. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. And if you get a chance, check out the Southern Mountain Kitchen website, where you can get a free recipe, check out the cookbooks available from the Southern Mountain Kitchen, and if you'd like to, you could order a cookbook at a discounted price, cheaper than Amazon, with shipping that is also cheaper than Amazon. So if you get a chance, check it out, and I hope you have a great day.